into. So I think he should be recalled. And there are several options. Keshi should just open his eyes. In Europe, in the local league, we can't do his work for him. He earns 5 million naira every month.
And get those options
and
out.
Get the options out.
Okay, Onogu Galacticos on Twitter says Onye said Nigeria played on Saturday and then we are playing again today. He says Congo beat us on Saturday and they are beating Sudan today. So he says
some of the players.
He will say Congo didn't go to the World Cup.
No, yes.
Cameroon went to the World Cup.
Algeria
went to the World Cup.
Some of their players are based in Congo.
So it wasn't a difficult.
What about Cameroon and Algeria?
And they've been playing.
Cameroon, they have a problem and they have settled their problem. We still have a problem.
What about Algeria?
No, we have a problem. The team don't have a father.
What about Algeria?
We are in crisis. We're in crisis.
The Ivorians are rebuilding. No Drogba.
There is a proverb that said the children cannot eat when their parents are fighting.
Very true. Who will cook for them? But another interesting thing is that you have to understand that, look,
the Ivorians are rebuilding.
We talk very quickly.
Is that why they are losing scandalously?
We talk very quickly about a creative player, but it has to be a team effort. Okay, if you bring Victor Moses and the opposition find a way to cage him, what happens then? So it's the team that has to improve.
It's just not one or two players. It's the entire team that should raise their game. Exactly. Isaac is waiting to join us from Abuja. Isaac, Abuja is the seat of power, and how are they feeling, the Eagles, tonight?
Yeah, hello, Tony. Good evening, Oyin. Good evening, Tunde. Good evening.
Good evening, Isaac.
There is no power in Abuja right now because the game was not what we expected. Like Tunde has said, and Oyin has also said and contributed. From the World Cup, I was worried why the Henacho would not go there and see. We took 3 goalkeepers to the World Cup. We don't need 3 goalkeepers at the World Cup. Argentina took 2. They were not different from us. The Henacho should begin to understudy this ball. Confidence. We saw him at Manchester City playing friendlies at big and top-flight games. We need to begin to expose these boys. There was also this guy who won number 8 in the under-17. We call him the Nigerian Iniesta.
Musa Yaya, you mean?
The guy that plays in Tottenham. I went to Tottenham Hotspur.
Musa Yaya.
He's also another
Musa Yaya.
Musa Yaya. Very good, creative young player that needs to begin to understudy. Today, how to break a South African team when we needed a victory. We have a problem. If we have a Menike playing so wide, who will now score for Nigeria? Bola Salami also was playing very wide, working very hard. Who will score? These guys were going out wide to do the creative play, but there was just nobody in the center to do the scoring. Keshi was afraid to go for a 4-2-4 because he knows that Onazi is a battler, but not a passer. And he knows that Mikel Obi is very, very slow, and he will always open us up. When he brought in Sonny Aluko, and the game was open, we could see that our midfield was porous, and we had that danger that they almost caught us. Keshi needs to step up.
Okay, Isaac.
Keshi should understand that football is dynamic football, and with that, we'll have success.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Isaac. Isaac has made his point. It's the same point that he has re-emphasized. He's only added one more name, Musa Yaya, one of the very
Talented?
very creative players in the under-17 team. He feels, alongside Kelechi Iheanacho, we should begin to try out these guys. And he also makes the point that Keshi should step up. Onia Kelvin says, God bless Tunde, he spoke the minds of millions of Nigerians. We have no team. Only Kenneth Omeru covered himself in glory. And he says the Eagles were shambolic, no excuse. We were woeful. Zeon One says, Onyen should stop making excuses for this team. This is the worst Eagles team he has seen in years. Now I see why they can't come to play in Lagos. Well, that's what he says. Olagbon Sunday says the Eagles lacked urgency in that game. The South African boys were more determined to win that game than our boys. Our midfield was 0. That's what he says. Oludare Omoneye says, I think Mikel is not doing enough because he's always killing our counter-attack moves. The same point we made about getting quicker players, getting more creative players, and generally the team as a whole will need to step up. Adebamiro Damilola at Dark Cool 2010 says, I knew from the start that Nigeria's best result in today's game would be a draw. We played without optimism. That's what it says. No sense of urgency. And it looked like a result was also okay for us. Maybe the mindset of this boy Zonye is that, look, the gradual process of coming back is after a loss, get a draw. and then your next game you get the win.
Really, I think even the South Africans also opted to end the game in a draw because towards the end of the game, it was only 5 minutes to go that they started, that urgency.
But they created some chances towards the end.
In the first half,
it could have been a soccer punch.
Yes, but they were also very cautious not to concede and give the game to Nigeria. But like I said to him, I think a draw is better than losing this game. Because if we had lost 6 points behind South Africa, 6 points behind Congo, we have nailed our coffin. Because how we would start again? Keshi does not have a contract. Some of these players, for me, have reached the twilight of their career. But with 1 point, we can now say, okay, we have something to consolidate on the next game. It's just behind the corner in October. We can look at the positive. I'm not saying that the team did very well, but the draw is better than losing this game.
I have to tell you right now that I think our chickens are coming home to roost. We've had a problem that we've papered over the cracks ever since the end of the Nations Cup. Maybe the other teams at Nations Cup didn't do as well as they should.
We don't score plenty of goals.
And
we struggle to score goals.
The truth
we
is,
score our goals from 80th minute.
The truth about modern football now is that it has changed tremendously. That is why we always continue to struggle against the leading lights in Europe. You must have players who have speed of movement, speed of thought, speed of execution. This team is ponderous and lethargic at best. We saw how they reacted to going a goal up against Congo. They did it. They were completely clueless and leaden-footed. The same thing today. They didn't know about. You have to have players who have a sense of urgency that we've talked about. Space and speed of movement is very key. The thought processes that goes in executing whatever you have to do is also very key. And with these players, cannot do it.
All right, let me go to Twitter very quickly and read a few more comments. At Adesuyi Ayolak says, for the first time, I have to say that you are giving biased analysis. Mikel did not play as our creative midfielder today. It was Igebo that played 10.
Nobody said Mikel played as a creative midfielder.
Because there was nothing creative about what he was doing.
No, he has never been a creative midfielder ever since he became a Chelsea player.
What about Igebo? Is Igebo because Igebo
is a more creative player ever since he won in the under-23 team. He tried to, play the creative role, but his efforts left a lot to be desired. Mikel Obi, a lot of people know my thoughts regarding Mikel Obi, but
let's go to Femi is calling us from Lagos. Femi, is your own opinion different from anyone we have expressed so far, or are you teaming up with Onye, or are you on the side of Tunde?
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Yeah,
good evening.
Yeah, well, I love your program. The program so many years now, and
thank you, Femi.
But I just want you people to me, Keshi is not a coach that we needed, actually. Because if boys can be, fighting for money, for their career. So they need to fight for their career. And then if they are playing like this, I tell you, it's better we do away with some of these players and get the young ones to be able to give us, something that, they have urgency in playing football, determining their career. I think they have arrived on their career, so that's why they just play some of these matches.
Okay.
Nothing at stake, actually.
Okay, thank you, Femi, for your
to have urgency in whatever they do.
Thank you, Femi. Femi, thank you for your opinion. Keshi needs to step up. He says Keshi is not the kind of coach we need. He needs to step up, and he also re-emphasized some of the points we've made earlier. There's an interesting tweet here. Funny Bone Stanley, I am Funny Bone. I am Funny Bone. Also, as mentioned, the name of another player that he says could be considered for the creative job in the Eagles. He says Victor Moses, and Chinedu Obasi. Unfortunately, Chinedu Obasi was called up for this game, but he wasn't able to show up because his club kept him away from the game. So maybe Chinedu Obasi is another player that can bring a lot to this team. He could play on the right side, can play on the left side, can play in the center, can play as support striker, can play in midfield. Maybe Chinedu Obasi can be the solution to some of the problems you have identified, that sometimes you want to break down your team from the left, from the right, from the middle. Maybe that's the kind of player that you should also begin to consider.
So I have a problem with, Nigerians saying bringing young players, some of these players.
This is a young team that we have out there.
Not even that. We've had situations in the past when players got into the team the first year, the second year, the third year. you know, that determination, that
Well,
patriotism.
as they settle down into
So
the team,
there is something wrong, fundamentally
it
wrong.
comes to the fore again that I'm a regular in this team and you take this for
Absolutely.
granted.
In 2002, you saw